Mayor, as you know, your state and many others in this country have been home to a number of devastating mass shootings over the last few years. We all remember Parkland, Florida. Most recently, a Florida House committee voted for a school safety bill that would allow teachers to carry weapons on school grounds if local school boards approve. What's your reaction to that legislation?
Well, a great majority of Floridians are against that measure. It's actually asinine to have our educators armed with guns. You know, Parkland is just 15 minutes from the city of Miramar. Our city actually sent officers to respond to that. As a mayor, I've taken action to go against these crazy bills that you just mentioned. In Florida, do you know that mayors cannot bring forward any discussion on gun control? I could be removed from office by the governor, fined $5,000. So I sued the state of Florida, and litigation is going on right now. We have other cities that have joined on to this lawsuit to move this punitive clause so that cities can be able to have a voice in what gun control means. And in the Messam administration, in my first 4 years, my goal is to reduce gun violence by 50%, and by the end of my administration, to get rid of it altogether. So gun violence is a big issue in our country, and we cannot accept today the new norm that has come about us in terms of mass shootings, as well as violence on our streets. There's over 90 people that are killed every day in America, and we cannot accept this, and action must take place right now.
Well, even in countries, Mr. Mayor, that have very strict gun laws, you can't eliminate the gun violence altogether. It still happens. But let me just talk to you, or let me get your reaction to something that we were just talking about, which is I visited school districts, for example, where educators go through a training process in learning how to use firearms. The firearms they're not wearing them when they're teaching class. They are in a secure room, and if something should happen on school grounds, they are then able to access those weapons, also understanding that if they've been trained for this and if they are able to access those weapons, that they're putting their own lives at risk in protecting their children. Would you support something like that?
Well, what I say is that we have a system in our society that accepts the fact that guns control the narrative. I don't subscribe to the fact that we have to resort to arming teachers. There are other resources we can do to ensure that we keep our cities safe. I would not support any measure that would arm, our teachers. When we accept the fact that to prepare for mass shootings in our schools, we really have to look at ourselves. Just in New Zealand, we saw that massacre that took place. And New Zealand had the political will to take action in short order. The gun lobby in this country has crippled Washington's ability to really put forward common sense gun reform to ensure that our country and our cities and our streets and our schools are safe. And that will be the measure in the direction that I would look to lead this nation if elected president.